The question has been asked, what will a one-term national government mean for SMEs? Phil, this is a question that somebody posed to you recently when looking at buying a business, I believe.
Absolutely threw me when I got asked it, because it was something that is just not occupying my headspace at all. And I was on the spot and had to think on my feet, which is not one of my strengths, because being the deliberator that I am, I need a little bit of time. But really put it back on the business owner to say, well, like, why is this even in your headspace, and why is it impacting your ability to be able to make a decision to what to do next in your business? And I took it back to going, well, we know that government cycles are 3 terms, and it's all 3 years, and we always know it's a risk that they could get rolled after their 3-year term. They might get re-elected, they might not. And social media is a pretty good thing at the moment, poking it a little bit of saying, hey, look, this is a thing, and then people are starting to freak out. It's just like, hang on, we can't control that. Yes, we can in 3 years' time by going and voting and having a say, but in the day-to-day, we can't let that go, oh, gee, I'm not going to go and invest in this, or no, I won't go and buy this business, or no, I won't hire this next person because I might be worried of minimum wage increases if a new government comes in. And I think if we keep looking for those, and I've put down here those excuses, and they come in different forms, and it's just fascinating when the political card is played to go, oh, no, it's not safe. It's a little bit too risky. And it kind of is a little bit timely now, because I heard something on the old wireless on the way to work this morning, and it wasn't Hosking.
Ding, ding, ding.
It was someone else. Oh, corporate bingo lingo, we got there.
That's the Hosking. It's the Hosking meter. It's usually we average 2 out of every 3 pods.
Do we? Do we? But it wasn't him this time. It was somebody else. And that they said, the world is such an increasingly uncertain time. And I was just like, hang on a minute, mate. I'm like, when has there ever been a time in the world that there is certainty about what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
And yet we still wake up every day, we carry on, we go about, we do our things, and we make our decisions. And I think there's something bigger at play here with the individual business owner and their mindset around how they make decisions, and a framework or a process that they need to work through of going, geez, what can I pause, knowing that you're getting to a negative space, because that's where the brain's going to, of just like, oh, I'm confronted with a decision. Let's put up every excuse or barrier that's going to slow down the process to make the decision or actually achieve an outcome. And then, I'm struggling to find excuses. I'll blame the government.
Yeah. It's a vicious cycle, right? And, if you go back through some of that, we've got 3-year terms, but normally a government lasts 9. But I think this is one of the first ones, the last one that only lasted 6. So maybe we're in unprecedented times politically.
Shock.
Where then maybe they only last a term, and then we keep flipping and flopping because we're not seeing results fast enough. Don't know. There's still a lot of water to go under the bridge. But I wondered if this person maybe was doing the real corporate. Do you remember this, mate? The pestle analysis, a tool used to identify and analyse the macro environmental factors: political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. Do you do the old pestle analysis at uni or through your CA studies?
It's ringing some really loose bells by the time you got to the bottom there, and I might have done it once and then gone, oh yeah, we've ticked the box, done what we need to do, put that away, never use it again. Kind of like bed maths, I probably use that, but the cos sine tas from the old maths, kids are going through that at the moment, and I'm just like, nah, leave me out of it.
Yeah. Well, I think a saying that I often roll out is the role of a leader is to bring certainty to an uncertain situation. So what that means is that a lot of people drift through life, and that's cool, that's their calling, but people will always look to leaders, whether you're a CEO, the business owner, etc. And if there's uncertainty, they're basically like, well, we don't care, that's not up for us to sort out, you need to sort this. And part of what you sign up to when you get into business, I think, is actually knowing that it will always be uncertain, because there's nothing more certain than a government contract, which is a PAYE salary to them, which is safer and certain, right? And then the further that you go from that, then you have to accept that there'll be less certainty in your income and in your world. And the more uncertainty that's around it, you've got to figure out, okay, how do I bring some certainty to that? So a good example of that would be, instead of, just doing work where you go and do it and then you invoice and get paid on the 20th. You start saying, no, I need some certainty of cash flow. Therefore, what we're going to do is we're going to ask for a deposit, or we're going to start looking at retainers. Then we're going to ask that client, what other work do you have? Then it goes from one piece of work to 2 to 3. And you, as the business owner, bring certainty to what was an uncertain situation.
I would unwind that and go back to your first comment. I bet you if you did a survey of small and medium-sized business owners, they wouldn't view themselves as leaders or as business leaders. That's problem number one, I think, in terms of you've got to reframe the way you see yourself and kind of step up to a degree. And then by having the confidence to act as a leader, so there's another personality trait that you need to bring to the table, having a degree of confidence, because then once you've got confidence, people are then going to believe in you because you've got a plan, which then brings the certainty. And I think all of those pieces come together, which then people go, oh yeah, okay, this is an organization that, yep, there's so many things going on and distractions that are in the media that are going to chew up our mental rent, but I'm in a place that feels safe because I've got a leader that's got confidence and is bringing some certainty to the table because we're going out and we're actually executing on things.
Yeah.
And there's so many business owners out there that probably, one, like I say, don't see themselves as a leader, and then because they don't see themselves as a leader, don't have the confidence, and then when they're asked to bring some certainty to the table, just flounder a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good point, because like a lot of people progress into management roles or become a manager, and they never really wanted to be a manager, and it's kind of the traditional system, right? You keep getting better and working up the cycle or the ladder, and then you end up in those leadership and management roles. And a lot of people are like, I don't even have those skills. They're just sort of, you're probably the best candidate for it. And then you got to start training them on how to do it.
And then when you realise that you're not the best candidate, then you go through the HR processes of like, oh, you need this training and investment, and you need to upskill and here, there, and everywhere. And it's just like, no, leave me out of the people side of things.
Yeah, they might not even want to do it.
Yeah.
I guess if you go back to 2019 pre the pandemic, right, most people wouldn't even be able to remember that time, nor remember the economy. Then we went into the pandemic, and it was sort of, we're in unprecedented times, and we just need to get through this next lockdown, then things will be a bit more normal. Oh shit, now we've got Omicron, now we've got fucking this variant, etc. It just kept coming, so there was so much uncertainty through that. And then basically it was, right, here's cheap debt, etc. Oh shit, now we've got inflation. Holy, okay, when's that going to be normal again? When's that going to be, and when are we going to have certainty of what inflation is? So then we went through to about 2023, I think that took till people were like, oh, okay, I can kind of see and understand this inflation thing, and maybe things are going to settle back down. And then it was like, oh, okay, well, once we get back into that 1% to 3% bracket, we still need to work through this recession thing.
Yeah, we got slapped with the recession.
Yes, then we got a recession.
And we were lucky enough to get a double dipper.
Yeah. So we've done like 2 years of per capita type of recession. Now it's like, okay, we're back on the other side. And now we get to 2025, and it's, okay, well, we've got potentially a trade war, which a lot of us won't really understand what that is, how that's going to work, how it's going to play out. So again, more uncertainty. But also then it's for Kiwi people, they're thinking, well, what if it swaps back and we go back to Labour next election? Like, what's going to happen? I think it just highlights that there's 6 years right there that there has been uncertainty, unprecedented. And I saw someone recently say, like a fund manager talking about the markets, and they said, well, now you just have to sit back and wait for normality to return. I'm like,
no way, sunshine.
That ain't a strategy either.
No, this is normal.
Yeah.
Like, let's carry on.
So maybe we all just have to accept that things are always moving, and like our lives are volatile too, and things can happen, and then we can get derailed, or where things are going well and then we get sick, and it's like, fuck, I really wanted to crank this week, but I can't because I got sick out of nowhere, or the kids bring something home from daycare.
And I think it highlights in that post-COVID time, and we keep going on about it on the pod, and I can't wait till we get to a time where we never mention the old C-bomb again, because it should be just consigned to the history books. But keep coming back to just highlighting how much cash was floating around in the economy, and just how easy it was to transact, and then the flow-on impact to a business owner's P&L. Like, if you go back and look at your last 6 years, you can see the spike, and then you can see the tumble down. And the tumble down is actually just normalizing and coming off the high. Yeah. Yes, part of it's a recession to get back there, but are we ever going to get back there? Maybe as the economy grows, but don't certainly think that was normal. And I think so many people are looking back and go, oh, we made all this money. Like, to them, that's normal.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. But I think it's just getting comfortable with the fact that we don't know what's next. outside of the world that we operate in, but we can control it as best we can, provided we just stick to our knitting and don't get distracted.
I got a good example for you from today, mate. I don't know if you've seen, but the S&P 500 is down basically 4.8% today. $3 trillion wiped off the market. Great question there. Where does that money go? What do you mean wiped off? That's probably a topic for another day. But I'm unemotional about that, and I deployed another 10 grand into the S&P 500 this morning.
Oh, not Heartland?
Yeah, no, they're too fucking uncertain. I'm not certain about their future. So I deploy it, and I'm like, well, I don't, but there's two parts to it. One is like, okay, buy the dip. Statistically, the market hasn't dropped this much in one go since the pandemic. Now, it's not as bad as the pandemic, but I'm like, okay, well, I think over the long term, whatever happens, there's going to be another president. There's going to be unwinding of stuff. There's going to be like things get shaky and then they kind of slow down. But the other part of my brain is like, actually, mate, like maybe we're moving into a new global trend where this is the way that the world works, and maybe America is declining and these 500 companies won't actually perform like they used to. And so you need to be very comfortable that your 10 grand could continue to decline along with the other cash that is in there. And I finished my breakfast and placed the bet anyway and put the 10 grand in. But I've like at making that decision, I'm already at peace of, okay, this will be my fuck up if it goes down. I'll take full responsibility. So I'm not just in the camp of, it's just a bit of, the market shitting themselves. They'll go back up quickly. Don't worry, you've got a bargain. I'm actually like, maybe we are in like a very different time, and maybe there's not going to be the growth that we thought we would have. The NZX, I think, is a good example of this. It hasn't moved for 4 years. It's just traded sideways. So our top 50 companies, the market is not demanding. So maybe we see a lot of that, and I think, but that's just part of accepting volatility and understanding that we don't have all the answers. If we did have all the information, like everyone would be placing bets and getting returns and stuff and killing it.
Yeah, I'd admit, I mean, you there are probably the extreme outlier of someone where you've just looked at it and gone, I'm going to roll the dice and take the punt, so to speak, and you're at peace with your decision. And I think so many business owners are just like, no, we can't do that. Let's actually sit back and think about this, and do we, don't we, and go into this mindset, what about this and what about that? And I think there's a balance there, I think, when you're in business. But more business owners, or probably say most business owners, would probably lean to the actually analyze it, overthink it, delay, and then by the time you actually decide to do something about it, the ship sailed.
And the sad thing is it happens on the downside too, because I had a conversation yesterday where they've been building up overdue taxes for the last 2 years, and now they're at the stage where they're like, okay, I need some external help. And you think, if you started that process 2 years ago, or maybe even 18 months ago, the way out looks a lot different to what it does now, 2 years into it. And I think that's where we really like to, look at the what could be the downside when things are going well for us. But when they're not going well for us, I think people are keen to then avoid, like, okay, how much worse could this get, or what could happen from here, and we delay it. So it's fascinating when something volatile comes into people's life, like a government change or whatnot. It's like, what could happen? And it's like, why don't we tidy up what's not working at the moment already before worrying about all the other shit?
The thing that we were talking about before we hit record was around taxes, and specifically company taxes. And there are murmurs that there could be changes there. And I think as we get closer to the release of the budget in May, it'll be interesting to see how much that comes up in the media before the announcement, and then how much chitter-chatter there will be amongst one, business owners, and then two, prospective business owners. I've got, no, I'll just wait for the budget. Yeah,
we see it every year, the budget and the election, right?
Yep.
It's like,
and then the other classic one, there I go there, capital gains tax.
Yep.
And that drum is going to get beaten really loud next year, is my picking. And as we get closer to it, people are like, no, I'm not going to sell the house. I'm not going to do this decision because I just don't know.
Yeah, and even every year, we see, like winter's here now, property market slows down. You don't sell now, you wait. Wait till summer. It's like tried and true, like bred into New Zealanders. So then that all slows down for them. It's amazing how much we let like other people control what we actually do, instead of going out there and going like, I'm going to make this happen for myself.
And I think it highlights the really poor understanding amongst the general population of opportunity cost.
Yeah.
And then that's a great thing that you hitch up to clients when they come to you with this great scheme. I'm just saying, hey, I've got this opportunity to do this, but I need to be able to go away and do A, B, C, and then I could potentially make this much money in 6 months' time. And it's just like, well, hang on. Like, you've got to go off and do all of these things, and that's not a certain outcome. But what's certain at the moment is you can do something and bank some cash and take it and run.
Yeah.
Like, why slow this down on some potential upside that's uncertain and requires some work? Just execute, get rid of the distraction, and carry on with your business.
I think a good tactic for all of us to think about with something that we're delaying for the future is to ask ourselves when we think we're going to do it. So the context for that, I've had 2 conversations recently where someone said to me, I'm going to do X, Y, Z in 10 years. And the fact that it's 10 years, I'm like, you haven't really thought about when you could actually do this. You've just gone like, it's probably going to take 10 years. But I'm like, what if it's achievable in 18 months? Like, what if you waited 8.5 years to then go, okay, maybe I'm going to do this. And then someone today said to me, I'm going to do that in maybe 12 months or so. The fact that it's 12 months again, I'm like, you haven't really thought about it. There's no clear plan because we gravitate to these like 12 months, 10 years and shit because it's like, it's safety of how far away that is. But if someone said to us like, hey, I'm going to employ someone in 7 months, we'd be like, okay, why 7 months? Well, because in December we know that this happens, blah, blah. You're like, okay, you've really thought about this. But if it's like, I might hire someone in a year's time, you're like, okay, like what's going on there?
I've just had a light bulb moment in my little lid, and the media will talk about, and this might be a bit of a transgression from what we're doing, but I'll try my best to loop it back, where we talk about a productivity crisis in the country that's slowing us down. Potentially it's not a productivity crisis, we have a decision-making crisis. Where people just have an inability to be able to make a decision in the here and now, be comfortable with it and move on because they don't understand the wider impact of the inability to make the decision on themselves and their business, and then everyone else, dare I say it using some corporate bingo lingo, stakeholder on the decision as well. So it's like potential business owners wanting to engage with us, have the call, send out the proposal, go through all the motions, and then there's the mental rent aspect, not only for the prospective client, but then also for us in terms of tracking them as a potential client, checking in with them, all of that stuff. And it's just like, let's just get to the outcome sooner. And if it's a no, great, let us know that. And then we can just carry on and you can carry on because we're all trying to win. Let's just make it happen faster.
And I think decisions probably come back to so many people are so scared, especially in a contracting economy, to make the wrong decision. I think it's heightened in a contracting economy compared to a booming economy. People are like, yeah, I'm going to hire, I'm going to do this, and like, we'll give it a go and see how we go.
Easy to fly under the radar, eh?
Yeah, we don't really hear that. Like, you don't hear clients at the moment saying to us, like, give it a crack, just see how we get on. What's the worst that can happen? And it's like, fuck, I really don't know if I want to do that. Like, everyone's in this heightened, like, oh shit, I need to get every decision right. And we know that that doesn't work because, and there's been people talking to me recently about changing marketing companies and doing marketing. I'm like, you need to understand that this is, it might take you 6 months to collect the data on whether this was a good idea or not. It's not just that, make a quick change and do this over here.
Expect instant results.
Yeah, and know like, best thing we did. And even then, all that happens, even if you do get a sugar rush of things going well, you reset your ceiling, and as soon as they don't and regression to the mean happens, you're like, this isn't working anymore. I need to go find the other, shiny object. So I think people are scared of things being wrong, but really you've got to then go, okay, how could this go wrong? And what's the ultimate downside if it does go wrong? My 10 grand this morning, 500 companies in America go bust, I lose my 10 grand. Big fucking deal. But let's be honest, okay? Can I make another 10 grand? Yes. Are they going to print another 10 grand? Is it
Absolutely they will.
Is it statistically likely that 500 of those companies are going to go bust?
Fail? Absolutely not.
Does my 10 grand become 5 grand? Like, am I still breathing? I make the investment. I still drive to work today and carry on my life. I'm looking at other people. I'm like, I wonder if they're freaking out that the S&P is down 4%. Doubt it. Probably don't even care.
No.
So I think we over dramatize getting shit wrong instead of going, okay, even if I did get it wrong, what would I need to do on the other side to come to peace with the fact that I did get it wrong? Yeah.
And I think that highlights that flip the coin and go, well, if I make this decision, what will go right?
Yeah.
And then if that's going to go right, well, how can I make that happen? And then focus on the positive. Because coming back to the earlier comment, we know that the mind naturally goes to the negative and thinking about, it could be a one-term government, insert excuse, the all below the line behaviors. Flip it. And then train your brain to then focus on the positives to then go, right, let's get the dopamine rush in a different way. And then that's going to provide energy, which will give you momentum to keep going and increase your likelihood of achieving the decision that you originally set out to make.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the biggest, the thing that will probably swing, say we do get a change in government, is that I think one believes in tax cuts and trying to remove regulation to grow the economy and to grow the country, whereas the other, this is probably my simple take on it now, is like we need more debt and we need more money going through the system, and that's going to come from debt, and we need wealthier people to give back some of the wealth that they now have.
Oh, boomers need to step up.
And Ryman, etc., sitting there going, whoa, don't touch the cash, man. We need that. And Heartland as well. I've just released a new equity release product. Anyway, to help people get into rescue. But, that's, I think, the two things, and that's the way that the country's going to go if they were to get in power. That's kind of my simple take on it. But, like, what does it else does it impact? Maybe, like, residential tax rules, but do they change those again? Like, even I'm now skeptical. Do Labor get back in and go, nah, we're changing Brightline again, and we're not going to make interest rates tax deductible for rentals? Like, I don't know. I don't know if they can deal with the flip-flopping.
Oh, mate, my mind boggles. And my immediate thought at the one-term government is like, just can't we get rid of all of them? Like, do we actually need them? Because the amount that politics dominates our headlines domestically and internationally is phenomenal. And it's just like, do we need these clowns? Like, let's just suffocate and not give them the attention and actually focus on some stuff that's probably a little bit more energizing rather than just all this bloody rubbish that they spout on about. But I think, that there is, and what you're raising there with all the potential stuff with taxes and property, and then, we could go to minimum wage, and then, the current government's changed and made rules for employers more favourable, and I think 90-day clause and all that kind of stuff. Do we flip-flop? It's just too much to think about, and I think business owners then go, oh, no, I won't hire that person. Well, no, hire the person and carry on, because the longer you leave it, you're going to look back and regret it.
Yeah.
And yes, if something changes, well, we just deal with it and carry on.
I do think there's been a little bit of a global shift towards like negativity towards inefficiency. So I think we've seen in America with the Doge and whatnot, and people, if you strip back, like before getting triggered about Elon Musk and things like that, the whole concept of there's too much wastage here, and I see a lot online too, even in New Zealand, around like the wastage of tax money and stuff. So I think there's a real strong narrative play there of there are too many barriers, and we've gone from, things will be sweet, like, if you get hurt, you get hurt, to like, oh, there should have been a barrier at the edge of that water. Someone fell in there. That's disgusting. We need to, have an inquiry, and we need to, who's going to pay for that cost, and that's going to cost $600,000 million to put in there because someone fell in the water. And I think people are, getting a little bit over the sort of, oh man, like seriously, how much more regulation do we want? And people maybe want to see some of it stripped back, and they're kind of responding well to the, the things where you can ring up and say, hey, this sucks about, I can't get this done because of this, and people are frustrated with councils and those processes. And I just wonder if the party who campaigns on that really well, they'll get a share of vote. But I suppose businesses often want it like that too. But there are number of conversations we've had with clients over the last 24 months where they're just frustrated with something that's in their way, and like they're out of control of it. Like, I'm waiting for council to come back on this. Or Doc need to get back in touch with us, whether we can do this. Oh, the helicopter authority. And we're like, holy shit. Like, this is slowing down.
The layers, and it's just this decision-making bureaucracy, and that's right, I just don't think it's a productivity issue. There's people that over-index their self-importance in the roles that they have, when really you're probably not. Let's just get to the outcome so the person on the other side that's got the business can just carry on.
Yeah, I think my main takeaway would be that even if we do have a one-term government and you start thinking, okay, what's the next government going to mean for me? Like, maybe go down that rabbit hole for a bit and think about your life and your business, but then also personally. But I think why people get so up in arms about this shit too is that, like you said at the start, people don't have a plan. They don't have vision. They don't have goals. So when their life is kind of rumbling along and then a change comes in, it's like, oh, how can they do that? Whereas our clients who have plans and who are like, I'm going to get there no matter what, they are like, okay, that's another hurdle. I need to figure out how to get over it. They don't see it as this massive, like, did you see what that political party did or said, or they can't do that. They're like, oh, I'm going to have to figure out how to keep moving, because if you're going to be in business, you're going to be in business to see more changes in government, more taxes, more regulation, more flip-flopping, more empty promises. And it's just part of the nature of the environment we play in.
Sure, if it's a one-term government, I say bring it on. Because my mind just goes, man, this is going to be an absolute roller coaster, and the thing that drops out of it is opportunity. You've just got to be prepared to go out there and hunt for it, and then use it to your advantage.
And I think that's a really good point, because even if it looks like it's going to be a one-term government leading into this next election, think again, like the economy is slowly going to be getting better. Inflation hopefully is going to be a little bit under control compared to where it has been. But remember, average inflation rate is 2.6% over the last 25 years. You're still fucking losing a lot of money and purchasing power. But all those people on the sidelines again, I'm going to wait. I just need to know if National get back in. And then, so all of us who don't buy into that shit, we're like, sweet as, see ya. And then we keep rowing and keep going. And then, National get in. All of a sudden, like, we hear this every time. It's like, things have picked back up, since the after the election.
Oh, man, that happened last time when as soon as they got in, and we saw the...
it's like a flick. They flicked a switch.
Yeah, there was those business sentiment surveys that come out that the banks do. And all of a sudden, business owners were feeling good about life. And it's just like, really? And then you only needed to go through, and it was like the rose-tinted glasses honeymoon phase. And it's just like, sure enough, we get over that, and then boom, it's just like actually the reality of the clusterfuck that we're in of an economy, like no government can change that like that.
No.
You know, so we come crashing back down to reality of like, no, we have no money, no one's spending, retail's absolutely battling, property values up, so everyone's feeling poorer. No government's going to fix that. And if they do, it's going to take time.
Yeah, man, it is so important to understand the powers that be in this country, because you realise how much it impacts your mind. And, we've got so many clients at the moment that they've got so much opportunity. But the reason they've got opportunity is they're going to it and they are creating it and they're also looking for it. But then there's people that we speak to who there's no opportunity, not in my industry, no one's spending, etc. And they're like, how did you wire your brain like that? Like that had to come from somewhere. And yeah, it's phenomenal. I think it's going to be interesting to go through this last round of provisional tax for the 2025 financial year and see
how it finished up.
Yeah, people paying based on last year. Are they paying a bit more? Are they paying a bit less? My vibe is that a lot of them, the majority, are kind of paying based on last year.
I'm
and there's some outliers.
picking that there's going to be, maybe some odd outliers that might have to pay a little bit more, but on average, they'll be, you've got to pay consistent with last year, maybe a fracky less.
Yeah. Well, as always, there will continue to be more and more changes in life and business. And going back to my little saying from earlier, our role as business owners, as leaders, is to bring certainty to an uncertain situation. So if we're going to have the uncertainty of who the next government is, bring it on.